to discuss a very important matter.
What is it?
Uh,
Is it important?
Dice fudging.
Oh, dice
To do
fudging.
or
Yes,
not to
yes.
do.
To do or not to do. Yes, yes, yes. So apparently, it's a very important thing. Yes. I never thought much about it, but I've done it. I didn't know that it was a cardinal sin, and I had the notion that it probably was. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't really care. Well,
Yeah, well, we are doing a video, so you must pretend that we care about that.
I'm joking. What I say. And let's start these videos. The idea for this video came up because you decided, because of Bro SI, you're going to start fudging. Just because
From now
we are
on,
annoying.
I will fudge all dice because the Pro SR doesn't want me to fudge the dice.
You are a very bad game master.
Yes.
And I can say that because you don't ask the players to show you their rolls. When you're
No.
playing online,
Yeah.
you just assume
I
they
don't
will
use
not
those.
fudge. Yeah.
Though some of the players use apps, but they are not.
And some
seen
of them always
because
say what they are rolling.
They say that what they're rolling, but they don't show it. So
Yes.
it's basic. You have to trust them.
Well, I'm going to say that I
You
felt
fudge.
more tempted to fudge as a player than as a game master. I
Well-
don't know if that makes it a lesser sin or not.
Well, I'm not really sure if people were talking about being fudging as a player.
I think it was as
mostly
a
as a
game master, exactly. Because
But yeah, the
oh,
player.
you're fudging the dice so you can tell your story.
Yeah, but that's not really like that.
So when did you fudge dice as a game master?
I will go into that after. I think the people saying that need to learn something. Usually, people who are telling a story do not use dice. They are playing story games, and story games
Yes.
have Mikado and
Cards.
and cards and slightly smallish blobs of sperm. I don't know, strange things. And
Russian roulette.
yes, Russian roulette. They rarely use dice.
Or when they do, it's
Of course,
like
maybe
PBTA
okay. So
and
some
it's
of the
moves.
but the dice
Yeah.
basically are useless. But yeah, okay. I know they are thinking about the theater kids playing D&D, and those have to use dice. But that's not really the reason here, because telling the story, if the game master wants to tell a story, he doesn't really need to fudge the dice, even though that might be an option. But usually what we'll do, he'll be a bad game master and will railroad things, with or without fudging the dice, because he doesn't really need to fudge the dice to railroad a game session into his own. Of course, fudging will be part of the equation, but there are other things that he can do.
You can just decide that it's going to happen
Yeah,
no
this is going
matter
to
what,
happen. Yeah.
and doesn't really matter what the players
Yeah,
do.
so you roll it and you achieve it, but then it just says, oh, but there's the. Did you see that little closet behind? There's a dragon inside. Okay, so yeah. So now answering your question, when do I fudge dice? Two occasions mainly. When when the characters or the players made bad decisions and they are about to die in a stupid way, and I think, okay, no, I'm not going to kill them right now. It would be stupid, and you can do that because not really. I'm not telling a story, but it's just stupid.
Then you're gonna have to make them
But
create new characters and start a new story, and that's annoying.
Exactly. So that's the main reason for, and I believe that most people would probably most people who fudge like I do, and perhaps most people who do fudge, is because they are lazy and they don't want to do that. And that's pretty boring to do new characters, especially because just some stupid thing that happened.
Well, the good thing is to have the players scared, and are you sure you want to do that?
Yes.
Are you really sure that you want to do that?
Of course, we can do that as well. Before you fudge the dice, you can ask, and I usually do that. Not because I don't want to fudge the dice, because that was never a problem in my mind. I must be
That's why
wrong.
you're not winning at D&D.
Yeah, I'm not winning. That's true.
You're also not playing D&D.
Never.
So.
I haven't been playing or winning at D&D since 1993.
At Wretched you always lose.
Yes, everybody loses in Wretched. Loses time, loses patience, loses. Well, at least you don't lose a lot of money because the games are cheap. Inexpensive, not cheap.
Yes, inexpensive.
So, and the other reason, there's another reason that also has to do with laziness. If I don't remember something about, for example, I don't remember what's the character's score or what's the modifier for something, and I roll a die and I look at it and it's a 17. Yeah, that's probably a hit. But if it's a 5, okay, it's a miss.
That's not exactly a fudge.
Yeah, well, it's a fudge. You are fudging, kind of. You're not, well, not entirely, but it's like, it looks like this should be a hit, so it is. I do that a lot. I confess that I do that a lot. Sometimes I have a sheet with the scores that I am using, but sometimes I don't. Or playing online, you really have several things open at the same time, and you have to go between windows to check stuff, and that's too much work. So if it's a 15 up, and that's a hit, and if it's 10 below, it's a failure. So probably I fudge against and for the NPCs depending on the occasions, which means that I do not fudge at all because ones negate the others, and so that's everybody's happy. So that's basically that. I don't think it's really a problem. Of course, if you are doing all at that time, that's silly.
Yes, exactly. Why roll dice? Dice if you didn't, you just.
Oh, there's a third way that I fudge. That I'm not sure if that's fudge a dice, but when I'm rolling on tables and the result is too stupid, or again laziness, I would have to stop a bit to think about how am I gonna introduce this result here.
If I just failure or
then I don't really roll it. I just choose the option instead of rolling, because sometimes the result is interesting, and it's probably better to do that in advance because in advance you can stop a bit and think, okay, so this result is a little bit strange, but if I stop and think about it for 5 minutes, I may come up with an explanation that's reasonable enough. But in the middle of a session, it will be not as easy to do that. So, yeah, again, fudging for laziness.
You're fired.
Yes.
I need to say that in Trump's voice.
I can't do Trump's voice. Now tell me.
Well, I don't think I fudge as a game master. Only if it was for laziness, maybe, but not a lot, or because I don't want the characters to die.
Yeah, I think that's the main reason. In the end, the people who were complaining about fudging dice, I think they were especially talking about that, not just the game master wanting to do stuff as he planned, but also saving the players' characters' lives. Because I believe that happens a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but in our case it's different because we are not playing long campaigns.
Yeah.
We are playing, but let's imagine we are playing a short campaign. Let's call it a campaign. Let's call it a mini season.
A series of sessions. Anyway, whatever.
So let's imagine that the story would last for 5 or 6 sessions. If the player dies after 3 sessions, it's going to be really hard to introduce. The player character dies after 3. I love killing players. After 3 sessions, it's really annoying because you're in the middle.
Yeah.
How the hell are you going to introduce?
Yes.
And we had that experience, like I said, not with with Coom's character when we were playing. It didn't die, and there was no fudging there. It just he did stupid things, and this character.
Again, there's another problem here because people who are saying fudging is impossible, you can't do that. What is the game they are playing?
Yes, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, or not Dungeons and Dragons, but exactly the same thing with another set of rules. not everybody plays fantasy, you know. Not everybody plays a group of
Yeah,
a party of adventurers in the dungeon.
And with
okay,
characters
you
in
died.
the stable.
Yeah, you died. Now you can replace it with another character. That doesn't work in the real world. If you are playing, let's say, Call of Cthulhu, not to enter more strange stuff, more independent games. If you're playing Call of Cthulhu and you have a group of characters, and your librarian or your femme fatale dies, you can just say, okay, I'm going to play another femme fatale. Oh, so she drops in the parachute, and that can't happen. So
and she's not at the same level of craziness that the other guys already are.
So if you are introducing a character in a party in fantasy, in the middle of a dungeon, who cares? There's no logic for that.
It's weird. Why did this new guy just appear in the dungeon?
Actually, there's never any logic for dungeons. Why the fuck are you in the dungeon? Okay, because someone asked you to, or because you're looking for coins. That's stupid anyway.
Yeah, but I'm thinking that exactly for the Broassard, I think the stable of characters.
We've lost a couple of subscribers.
They have like the stable of characters, so you just get your second character if one dies.
Okay,
but
so
if you're we don't do that.
Yeah, so if you're playing in that level of silliness, yes, I've just said it. Okay, don't cheat, but if you need to have some kind of consistency, it's better to cheat than not to cheat, because if you're not cheating, and then you'll have lots of work to include or Fudge, not cheat.
Yeah.
You'll have lots of work to include the character, and sometimes it won't work. You just destroyed your campaign because that character died at the moment. Well, I'm exaggerating, of course, but it could in a short game that has
then you have to introduce
10 game sessions. You will have to restructure everything.
Yeah, you have at least one game session just to introduce that character and make him connect with the rest of the party.
So if it is an important thing, okay, yes, of course, that character died. But if it's just a silly thing, no, I'm not going to waste a game session, to waste everybody's time, just because there was a rule here that was too good or too bad or whatever. Yeah, well,
no, there's an exception to that. Well, I'm thinking there's an exception. The time that a character died in one of my games, it was in fantasy actually, right? Nix got killed.
Yeah.
But then what did he do? Oh, there's an NPC at the party, so I'm going to play one of the NPCs.
Yeah, that's what happens. So of
but
course
sometimes
that could happen as well in a contemporary, or not contemporary, but in a different kind of a horror or a spy or a
but you have to have a party with NPCs.
Yes, if there are NPCs in the party, you can, in that case, you can just not Fudge and say, okay, your character died, now you have to choose one of the NPCs. But obviously that's not always the case. Sometimes there are no NPCs, and introducing a character would be a major hassle. So
or there are NPCs but they're not part of the party. Then a time when you can't Fudge is when the players are trying to kill each other.
In that case, we'll have to live with that. And if you are trying to kill each other, that's.
But then it's like, okay, I think
in that case,
you just killed it.
But in that case, there's no problem, because it's the characters, the player character. No, not the characters. The players decided to enter that confrontation, so they know what can happen, and if one of them died, and the other one might be also unplayable because he killed another player character. So.
And we had that.
You might have ruined that game, but it was your choice, so that's a different case.
Yeah, it's not the fate of the.
Yeah, that's a choice. So people ruin the game because they can't, it doesn't have to be a disaster. It can be interesting.
No, you can. We had that.
And it's possible to save it,
yes.
Depending on the game, of course. Of course, we are talking about different possibilities, hypotheses, because sometimes it won't matter. A character might die, and there's not really a problem. Sometimes it matters. Yes. Sometimes it doesn't.
And that is not trying to save the characters all the time. But
no.
Yes.
Oh, this rarely happens. I'm just saying this because on Twitter the comments were like, "You can never ship, man."
That was because of that.
It's not important. It's not possible. Don't do that.
No, don't save the characters.
Yeah, but why not? Sometimes it's easier to save the characters, and than to have to restructure everything. And that's mainly for games that are not fantasy, that do not rely on a party where you can just basically take one character and insert another one. Oh, we've lost a thief. You need another thief. Okay, introduce new thief. It would be the same in a military campaign, I guess. If you are playing soldiers, okay, one died, you can
Yeah, it could be the
just
same in
pick up another
Cyberpunk.
one. Yes,
For example,
yes,
if
yes,
you're playing-
yes. Well, it's mostly for non-action
Mhm.
things. It might be horror or it might not be horror. It depends. It would probably be worse if it's something like a World of Darkness thing, where
Mhm.
you have
Well, just
politically
with another
intrigue.
vampire.
yeah, there's this very
Yeah.
political intrigue, and then your
You
character
lose part
just
of the story. That is
Yes,
the problem.
disappears,
Yes,
and
that's and then you have but the biggest part is where that character comes from.
Yeah.
So if you're playing into the
Sometimes it
the
could
character
be
that died already had connections to the other character,
Yeah.
and he dies at that stupid moment, and then you have to introduce another one that can put the campaign on stop because you just have to introduce them and find an excuse for them and be at the same level that the other character already was.
and sometimes doing that could be very fun and very wonderful, but it will be also, as I said, a major hassle. So, as I'm lazy in those things, because I'm not lazy in everything, but in those kind of things I am. I usually opt for the easiest way out. So that's it.
Oh, but I can say as a player that when I fudge the dice, it's not very often lately because I've been rolling bad as shit and I'm starting to get frustrated.
I also have Fudge as a player.
But it's just, I didn't roll a 5.
Not
I rolled
often,
a 8, not too much, but
not,
it's like...
yeah, occasionally. Also, for the same reason, sometimes I'm thinking, okay, I have to click on another window to check if I did get the result or not. And sometimes I probably fudge against myself because
Mhm.
I'm not sure. Okay, it was a miss. It happened. It's kind of silly, but yeah. Since I stopped doing the character sheets by hand, that started to happen. I should probably start printing the character sheets again.
Mhm. Well, you can print them and then fill them. Print
Yes,
a lot of them and then fill
that's
them
what I
up.
mean. But usually I just use
That's why I have the second
the
screen.
digital character
that
sheet.
helps.
Yeah.
But
that's
yeah,
right.
lately I did. Now I stopped because now I'm rolling good again. But during the new Flash campaign, I was rolling like shit. So yes, I confess.
Okay.
So fudge, don't fudge. But-
What basically? Well, don't fudge too much, of course.
Yes, of course.
Fudge occasionally, if you need to.
If you think you need to.
Yeah. Especially if you're a game master. If you're a player, you should probably not fudge. Although we confess that we do sometimes. But yeah, I don't think a player should do that. I think it's worse if a player does it. The game master is different. The game master is God, so he can just decide whatever he thinks. And then someone says, "So why are you rolling the dice?" Well, because 90% of the time or 95% of the time, I use the result of the dice. So the larger percentage wins. If I rarely fudge, then I should roll the dice, because it's just on occasion that I do not obey the little piece of plastic.
You say, I'm God.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Fuck you, piece of plastic. I win. The piece of plastic can't do anything. I just say, I'm going to ignore you, and it complains and it screams in plastic, but I don't care. Enough?
Yeah, enough.
Okay. So bye bye.